Hello and welcome to the local campaign. I'm your moderator, Dan Polishchuk. Tonight, we are holding a debate for the by-election in Cambridge Ward 7. Now, before we introduce the 9 candidates, on behalf of Rogers TV Waterloo Region, I would like to extend condolences to the family of longtime former Councillor Frank Montero. There are 9 candidates vying for the Ward 7 seat, and they are Cole Boland, Cory Patel, Connie Cody, Manuel De Silva, Scott Hamilton, RJ Johnston, Vanden Patel, and Simon Ware. Sandra Lemieux is also running for Ward 7 but was unable to attend tonight's debate. Now, let's get to know a little about our candidates with their 1-minute opening remarks, and for that, we will turn to Cole Boland with the first opening remarks. Cole.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Cole Boland, and I am running to be your Ward 7 councillor. Currently, I work at the Waterloo Region District School Board, where I am certified to teach politics, business, and English. I also have my real estate license and have been working in Cambridge for the last 4 years at my family's brokerage. I believe that the best representative Ward 7 can have is someone who knows what it's like to grow up in the ward, to live in the ward and work in the ward. I am Cambridge, born and raised. I have lived in Ward 7 since I was 5 years old. I come from a family of small business owners. As some of you may know, my family owns Barnacle Bill's Fish and Chips, which has given me direct insight into the needs and concerns of small businesses throughout our community. I believe that some young blood and a fresh face on council will serve it well in the coming years, and I hope that you will consider me to be your choice for Ward 7 councillor.
Thank you very much. Cory Patel.
Hi, I'm Cory Patel. I'm running for the council position, obviously, and I'm running for the same reasons I ran last time. I think we need to get the city's finances in order, and I think one of the ways to do that is to decide what the best way is to spend our money. I don't think that we should be rebuilding the Riverside Park Dam. That's the property of P&H Milling Group, and I don't think we should spend $3 million renovating their property. Thanks.
Connie Cody.
Hello, Cambridge. Thanks to Rogers for hosting this debate. My name is Connie Cody. We share a common interest because I live in Ward 7. I was born and raised in Cambridge, and it's where we raised our 2 lovely daughters. Encouraged by community and family, but most by my granddaughter, I ran in the 2018 election where I was runner-up. You will often see me volunteering, delegating at council, or attending community meetings or events. This has kept me actively engaged in municipal and budget matters. My experience in social services, finance, project management, and computers gives me the strong skill set needed to be your representative. We need fiscal responsibility in decision-making and to work together to build positive relationships and safer communities. I believe a councillor's role is to listen, putting people before politics and party politics. With your support, I can be that person. Vote Connie Cody.
Thank you. Manuel De Silva.
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to be heard tonight. My name is Manuel De Silva, and I have lived in Cambridge for the past 26 years, which makes it my longest living residence and the place I call home. It is the city where my wife Marcy and I chose to raise our 2 children, and now have the pleasure of watching our grandsons grow in this wonderful community. With the unfortunate passing of Frank Montero, a gap in leadership was created, and this now allows me to further grow in my commitment to serving this great community. I was first elected as trustee for the Waterloo Catholic District School Board in 2003, and I've served in that capacity ever since. I ultimately decided to run for Ward 7 because I strongly believe that the learnings which I've had, especially as a trustee, will now better serve this community at the City Council level. Cambridge has much to offer, and this role will touch on issues impacting residents of Ward 7 and beyond. We as citizens have a responsibility to contribute and be involved for the betterment of our community. I look forward to earning your trust and having the opportunity to create positive solutions, build relationships, and lobby for results that will benefit current and future residents of Cambridge. Thank you.
Thank you. Scott Hamilton.
Hello, and thank you for watching. My name is Scott Hamilton, and I'm a proud Cambridge resident. It's where my wife and I want to raise our young family, and that's our home. So why am I running for City Council? Well, currently I'm on the board of directors at the Cambridge Self-Help Food Bank. I was teaching politics at Wilfrid Laurier, And I realized that the best way to help my community, my son's future, and really all of our futures, is to serve our community by giving back to it on its council. So I've been door knocking for 40 straight days, listening to Ward 7 and hearing your concerns. I've heard about street safety at Moffat Creek and Holy Spirit schools, winter plowing and salting problems, traffic infrastructure, parking, speeding on streets, the lack of good rinks and the need for a sports complex, rising costs for seniors, and of course, crises of homelessness and addictions and a lack of housing in our streets. As your councillor, I'll use evidence-based solutions to tackle these old problems by acting in new, forward-thinking ways. So on March 23rd, I'm asking for your vote because I'm listening, I'm thinking critically, and I'm acting for you and our shared future together as a community. Thank you.
Thank you. RJ Johnston.
Hello, my name is RJ Johnston, and I am an incredibly lucky person. I live in the beautiful city of Cambridge, and it is beautiful. I have a wonderful wife, a lovely home. We're healthy, we're happy, and we're luckier still because we're in a position to give back and to help out those who are not as lucky as we are. And we're further lucky because we're not alone. Cambridge is filled with wonderful community organizations and individuals who are dedicated to helping out those less fortunate and to really building the city along a number of different lines. Cambridge, if we as Cambridge citizens want Cambridge to be the best Cambridge it can be, we have to be the best we can be. And so I would encourage anyone watching to visit our various websites, learn about the candidates, and if you want to touch base with me anytime, I'm happy to hear from you. I believe we work with these community groups to solve our problems together at home and through City Hall. This could be poverty, the homelessness situation, the drug crisis, of course, the budget, transparency, the environment. It all connects, and it connects us as people in Cambridge. And I would simply say that if we work together, we will achieve positive results, and that really takes luck out of the equation, which is good for future generations.
Thank you. Vandam Patel.
Thank you so much, Rogers TV and entire team who invited me as a first debate in my political history. Myself, Vandam Patel, and I am pleased to introduce myself as a candidate for the Ward 7. After completing my degree in agriculture science, I immigrated to Canada many years ago. As a proud Canadian, I chose to make Cambridge my home for myself and two beautiful children who have invented my love for this community. As a small business owner, I have many opportunities to give back to this great city that have given so much to me and my family. This is the principal reasons why I hope to be your next councillor for the Ward 7. I believe I pose to the skill, knowledge, and passions necessary to make this difference this city needs. I hope to have the opportunity to speak to you and learn what your priority to Cambridge are and how you feel we should move forward. I personally more than 1,000 doors knock already in last 23 days to share my vision, my commitment to my great community. Thank you.
Thank you. And Simon Warish.
Good evening. My name is Simon Warish, and just like you, I love Cambridge. I'm married. My wife Jackie is a teacher, and we have two children, Caleb 10 and Madeline 8. I'm a dedicated husband and family man, entrepreneur, employer, volunteer, and have a passion to serve. My professional career has included over 15 years fiercely advocating for children, youth, and families within the region, working as a child and youth care worker. As a Cambridge business owner, I built a growing property management firm, J&S Property Management, in 2014. My personal and professional life is rooted in honesty, integrity, and transparency. It is the foundation I would bring to council. I believe in investing in Cambridge, which is why, if elected, I am pledging to donate 10% of the salary directly back into Cambridge programs and charities and community events, and publicly publish these donations on my website. March 23rd, I'm asking for your support and your partnership to build a better Cambridge together.
And thank you again to all the candidates for your opening remarks. Joining us this evening as well are our 570 News reporters, Asha Shetty, as well as Mark Perry. They will be asking tonight's questions to our candidates. For the first question of the night, we turn to Mark Perry. And just for all the candidates, you will have 1 minute to respond to these questions here this evening. And we will begin with Cory Patel. So Mark, take it away.
All right, so we're just basically going to rip the Band-Aid off of this one right here. It's a two-part question, I guess, technically. CTS sites in Cambridge, yes or no, and why?
And Mr. Patel, again, we begin with you.
I'm against that. I think that it's going to draw more addicts to the community. I don't think we should be enabling drug users. We need to be helping these people, but you can't help somebody that doesn't want it, and I don't think that the consumption site is going to help that. I think it's going to increase crime in the neighborhoods, and I don't think I'm against it. Thanks.
Ms. Cody?
People are speaking loud and clear throughout the community that they don't want a drug consumption site either in the core areas or within Cambridge at all. And I've been very clear myself over the years that I also do not support a consumption site, as I would not consider it to be a solution. I feel that we need to stop building the social franchises that are based on social crises, and we actually have to focus on the education, prevention, rehabilitation, mental health supports, affordable housing, and drug courts. And currently right now with the issues with the toxic brain injuries and the organ failure caused from the overdoses, it's definitely not a positive solution. And I think that if we could come up with the positive solutions, that's how we have the positive outcomes.
Mr. De Silva?
Thank you. I believe in compassion. I believe in safe and healthy communities. I believe in greater public health and well-being. I believe in the safety of my own family and yours. We have heard reports that municipalities such as Kitchener and Guelph that have consumption and treatment facilities are experiencing a reduction in in medical waste in our streets and are saving lives. Our Chief of Police, Chief Larkin, has noticed a difference in the amount of traffic of this nature and a difference in our city streets. Cambridge Council and staff, through the Consumption Treatment and Selection Task Force, have a firm criteria to not have locations in our downtown cores. Council and region have been listening, and efforts to keep our cores vibrant, our communities safe and vibrant, are taking place. For these reasons, and especially for the fact that we are saving lives, I will support a consumption and treatment facility site, but also recognize the need to keep it away from any of our core areas. Thank you.
And just a reminder to thank you for that response, and just a reminder for the final four candidates to begin with whether you yes or no support the initiative, and then go into your explanation. So, Mr. Hamilton, your response.
Thank you for the question. Yes. This is no doubt, though, a polarizing issue. And to be honest, I wasn't sure where I was going to sit on it. So instead of believing things I were to read on social media or any posts on Facebook, I went straight to the source, which were experts and healthcare practitioners that work in the city of Cambridge and give their lives to the city of Cambridge. So I went and spoke with the police, the fire department, the hospital. I spoke with representatives at Lang's, the House of Friendship, the Food Bank, Social Planning Council, numerous other groups. And across the board, every single group said the same thing. A CTS site is not a silver bullet that's going to magically cure all of our problems in Cambridge, but it will save the lives of Cambridge residents that need help. It will reduce the amount of needle clutter in downtown cores and in our parks. And most importantly, it will help clear up a lot of the issues we see in downtown areas and reduce crime, just as we're seeing in Guelph and Kitchener. I'm going to share Manuel's sentiment, which is we cannot have a CTS site in a downtown core. We need to protect above all schools, residences, and businesses. But as a compassionate community, doing nothing is not an option. A CTS site right now is our best option to save the lives of our residents and to build a bustling, compassionate community going forth.
Mr. Johnston.
Okay, well, this is not a yes or no question, as I'm sure you know. It's a very dividing question, very polarizing. The bulk of the people I've spoken to in Ward 7 are adamantly opposed to a safe injection site. But let me say that if, as I understand it, the goal of a safe injection site is to give treatment, to provide treatment to those who need it, to protect neighborhoods, and to save lives, well, I'm for that. And I will say this to anyone who happens to be watching this from a tavern. If you're sitting in a bar right now, you're in a safe injection site. The only difference is the product being consumed is legal and taxable, and the person running the establishment is under no auspice to get you off the stuff. So frankly, we're already surrounded by safe injection sites, and we're just in the process of deciding what quantifies getting people healthy and happy. And frankly, the council as it sits now, there is not going to be a safe injection site in the core. They are moving forward at looking one for the region. And my belief is if we're going to have one, Cambridge should decide where it goes and not the region, wonderful as the people of the region may be.
Mr. Patel.
Definitely yes. There are lots of difference between human being and being human. Very few people can understand what is the meaning of that. I am one of them. Mr. Rob is still alive because of me. 17 December, he came to my store. I do CPR and I just call 911 and save his life. He's an addicted person, right? It doesn't mean like this consumption site and everything. We are as a deal every single day. The consumption side, some people are different views and things. These are not to serving alcohol like vodka, whiskey, rum, and like beer like Corona. This is like to save the life. We are planning to put in the right stream. They are already, even our society is like facilitated, they're going to be addicted. Nobody is born like homeless and addicted, right? This is the way we have to find the solution. But yes, core area and everything, we have to keep it side. I'm every other colleague, they say it like that. I'm happy. Core area is not inside with this consumption side. It's supposed to be outside the core area. Beside the hospital or somewhere, this is the perfect way to find out. Thank you.
Mr. Ware.
At this time, I can't support a safe injection site. Cambridge lacks the wraparound services. I've had the opportunity actually to travel to Vancouver in the past to see their safe injection site, and I can't see it solving all of Vancouver's problems, nor do I see it solving any real community problems. That being said, I do believe that we have an obligation to invest in treatment. We do have an addiction crisis in Cambridge, and we have an obligation to provide accessible treatment to all. We must advocate to seek our provincial funds and provide municipal incentives to ensure our region is able to attract adequate addiction treatment centers, rather than having folks travel outside the region. I view the CIS as putting a Band-Aid on an overall larger problem that we can't continue.
Last response to Mr. Boland.
Thank you. I oppose a consumption and treatment site from coming to Cambridge. I do not believe that we have a viable location for one in our city. We have 3 beautiful but separated downtown cores, so no matter where you put it, you will always be servicing 1/3 of the population and not the entire population. As Ward 7 Councillor, we also have the duty to represent those who are in our ward. And from what I can tell by knocking on the doors, the overwhelming majority of people in the ward do not want a site in Cambridge. This is also in line with the public feedback to the planning study that was presented to council, and I quote, "The overwhelming majority of responses expressed opposition to a CTS site being established anywhere in the city. This must be followed. It's clear that the majority of Cambridge citizens do not want a site in our community, and we as council have to represent the citizens of Cambridge. But I do have compassion and do want treatment. I do believe that we need more opportunities for education, rehabilitation, mental health, and addiction support. We need more preventative measures, not reactive ones. I prefer a proactive solution." Thank you.
Thank you again for all those responses. Our next question goes to Asha Shetty.
Thank you. Do you think it's important that candidates in this election should live in Ward 7? Once again, start your answer with yes or no before you elaborate. Thanks.
And first response, Ms. Cody.
I think it's very important that the person that represents Ward 7 lives in Ward 7. The reason being is the issues that surround everyone in Ward 7 also affects me. I think we can have a better engagement and understanding of the community and neighborhoods. And so again, it's being part of the neighborhood has a great impact as to the decisions that we make in the community.
Mr. De Silva.
Yes, I do think it's important to live in Ward 7. I believe that when you live in Ward 7, you're aware of the issues in Ward 7, and you have family and you have friends that live in the ward. So I believe it would be beneficial to live in Ward 7. Having said that, however, Frank Montero was not a resident of Ward 7, and he was very well connected with Ward 7. And knew a lot of people in Ward 7 and did a lot of work in Ward 7. So I believe that it is important to live in Ward 7, but I think if you have the will and the desire to be a part of a community and do well for a community, you can.
Mr. Hamilton?
I'm going to say what's important is not where you rest your head at night, but it's where you put your feet and your head during the day. So just like Councillor Montero, whom we opened up this debate by discussing his dedication to Cambridge, did not live in the ward, I believe that what really matters is a councillor that really listens, that thinks critically, and acts for their residents. I know by knocking on doorsteps around Cambridge, I've heard issues about street signs, I've contacted City Hall, and it's been resolved. So anyone in Macintosh Court, you've got that mentality to thank. And that's what we need overall as Cambridge. We've had enough difference and division in the past that's prevented us from moving forward with projects and community spirit. Now we need leadership that unifies all of us as a community, because the problems we're facing, from the opioid crisis to climate change to infrastructural projects like the LRT, we need to act together as a community and work together to establish a shared vision of what we can do as a city.
And Mr. Johnston, yes or no to that question?
Well, again, these are yes or no questions that aren't yes or no questions, are they? I live 24 hours a day. I sleep in Ward 4, that's where my house is, but I buy my gas in Ward 7. I do my shopping in Ward 7. I go out to restaurants in Ward 7, get takeout in Ward 7. My mechanic is in Ward 7. And actually, one of the first events we did, some of us, Simon and a few of us went to an event on Allison, at the Allison Community Center, and I, in Ward 4, was closer physically to that building than anyone else on the panel. So, yes, I live in Ward 4, but I didn't move there because it was Ward 4. I moved there because it was affordable housing that I could get behind. And yeah, if it's important to you, certainly vote that way. It's not important to me.
Mr. Patel?
I would say yes, because once you are within the community, within the neighborhood, right, then you have understand the situations. You are every day facing the problem. Sometimes something happens, they just tell us, oh, this is morning happened, this is afternoon happened, this is evening happened. So you are connected 24/7, and that is more important. Because sometimes you heard the story, you read the article, and you make it the sympathy. But sometimes you're dealing everyday life. This is more important things. So I would say yes. Thank you.
Mr. Ware?
I do believe it's, like RJ put it, it's not a yes or no question. I mean, the optics definitely suit better that a councillor is from the ward. I do live in the ward, but I don't believe that not living in the ward, you're somehow not engaged in community issues. So that being said, I'm proud to live in the ward, and we love to raise our family in the ward, but I don't believe it's limiting in the knowledge and scope of issues that people are aware of.
And Mr. Boland?
I do believe that it is important to live in the ward. As I said earlier, I have grown up in the ward. I've lived here since I was 5 years old in Ward 7. I have a good idea and a good pulse on the topics that are important to my neighbors and other community members. I grew up in the streets in the ward. I understand what my neighbors want done. And yes, you sleep for 8 hours a day and live for the other 16, so you might be around the ward during the day, but at nighttime you might not hear the sirens or the speeding cars going through your window. Going past your window, or the cars going down Franklin at the roundabouts. Living in the ward really gives you a full understanding of what's happening and a closer connection to it. I believe that not only should you live in the ward, but it's more important, or is just as important, that you have lived in the ward for an extended period of time to understand what's important to the neighbors and community members there.
Mr. Patel, last response to you.
Yeah, I think it's important to live in the ward, but you know, it's not a qualification, so it doesn't really matter all that much. But I think it's important that the people that vote for you know that you're their neighbor and that they can come to you and like almost any time. You don't have to schedule an appointment. Just come over and visit. We can talk about it. Thanks.
All right, our next question, we go back to Mr. Perry.
Okay, so this next question is revolving around the ION. Of course, it was started up June 21st of last year, and of course, Phase 2 will be working its way into Cambridge. How do you feel the ION, the situation has been handled at the regional level? I guess more importantly, how do you feel it should be? Do you feel like it's being approached the right way to get into Cambridge the way it's being done at this point in time?
Okay, to that question we begin with Mr. De Silva.
Hi, thank you. I believe that we in Cambridge now are hopefully in a better position now that Kitchener and Waterloo have had their experiences, and hopefully we can learn from them. I do believe in a healthier environment, and I believe that the ION helps us to create that. I believe in safe, accessible modes of transportation, and I believe in finding ways to improve traffic flow, and definitely I believe that the ION will help us to do that. I believe in looking for better ways to link with our communities and surrounding communities. And public transportation should be more than just a means to get us from A to B and C to D and so forth. It should be a means for us to get to really know our community and appreciate our community without having the responsibility of having to keep our eye on the road. So I look forward to an extension of the ION into Cambridge and for a better modes of transportation for our residents. Thank you.
Mr. Hamilton, your response?
Thank you. So no amount of money or legal action or political action can reverse the LRT coming into Cambridge at this stage. The best thing we can do is work together with the region, with council, and with citizens for a proper implementation of Phase 2 coming into Cambridge. I think City Council at times in the past has had an issue of driving with a rearview mirror. It tries to move forward by looking backwards. And the LRT is one of those projects where it holds part of the future of Cambridge in its hands, showing new residents, old residents, that we're part of an advanced, bustling community that understands short-term economic pain for an extreme long-term economic gain. As Kitchener-Waterloo shows us, over $2 billion in new investments along that LRT track has been built. That is also expected to come to Cambridge. So I'm excited for the LRT and its extension into Galt. I'm excited for the new businesses, residences, opportunities it will open up for all of us and our children, and I'm excited to see how it will bind us together as a community going forth.
Mr. Johnston?
Well, I like to be positive. I like to be a positive person. So I will leave defending the LRT to the people who were in favor of the LRT. I would say if there's a way to pull the plug, we should strongly consider doing that. I think the money can be better spent with more buses. I don't know what conversations have been had with Go Transit in the past with the city, but I would like to reopen those conversations and see if we can't get some trains, some buses moving, because it's shameful that we can't get easily to Guelph or to Hamilton or to Toronto from Cambridge. I think that the LRT, as Scott says, if we have to have it, we will make it work. We'll do what we can to make sure it is as non-disruptive as possible, and I want to make sure the businesses that are going to be disrupted will be taken care of to the best of our ability, and we will do everything we can to make sure that they are not overlooked in the race for this train.
Mr. Patel?
Hello, my intention is like I'm thinking like the city need is a heart. Transportation is kind of the heart, right? So once you are like a advanced or infrastructures and everything put it in for that way, we have definitely do like that. Even you can consider like in the world, top 10 cities, always they have with the bus transportation, rapid transportation, LRTs, metro, subway, everything, because we need it. If we are growing, if we are development, if we are because the immigrants and everyone come inside, right? Like even the city population, 130,000 people, right? You are not picking the other transportation, the traffic is jam everywhere, right? So you have to find other options. But only the concern with the LRT, I don't want to make it the route or anything, so someone break the houses and feelings with the 20 years they are living there and they break the houses and make that road. That's I'm against that. We have the old sound system from Kitchener to the Galt. There are the old rail tracks, so why not we can rebuild or something like that. So we make it and everyone happy in the society and community and make it a transportation. Thank you.
Mr. Warish?
The LRT does seem inevitable at this time, although I think a rapid bus system would have better suited Cambridge due to the geographical layout. Building this LRT system does bring hardship and potentially a lethal blow to many small business owners. As a business owner myself, I'm very aware of that. And yes, we can look at the long-term gain for that, but as mom and pop shops, as small business owners, these lethal blows can be devastating for families, and it's one that I'm very aware of and concerned about. So if this does go forward, we need to foster a real relationship with that and really take care of that. If we're looking at this from a green initiative, as Connie pointed out last election, The study from the U of T has indicated that it would take 3 decades to offset the carbon footprint as it relates to this LRT construction. So the benefits, I think, are yet to be seen.
Mr. Boland.
I believe that strong public transit is important for every community. So I am happy that it is going through, and I am excited to see where it goes. It is a little slower than expected, but I would encourage council to keep moving forward with this. I think that the light rail transit is a good starting point for our community, and Kitchener is an important destination. There are many families and workers from Cambridge that do have to commute to Kitchener on a daily basis. But I think that's just a starting point, and we actually need to extend further. I believe that we need to go and establish some form of public transit from here to Toronto in the GTA. Many more families are moving into our community from those areas and still have jobs there and have commutes that need to be maintained. And I believe that strong public transit is a good infrastructure to invest in to maintain those commutes and those public transportations.
And Mr. Patel.
Yeah, we're pretty much locked into it. There's not a whole lot we can do right now, but I've ridden the LRT in Kitchener. I'm in favor of it. I liked it. It got me where I was going. It was fast. It wasn't, I liked it. So I'm in favor of the LRT. We just need to be concerned about the businesses that's going to affect. People have already discussed that, but when they were doing fixing Main Street, those businesses suffered a lot, down thousands and thousands of dollars every week. So we need to be cognizant of that. Thanks.
And Ms. Cody, last response to you.
I do feel that we are in need of a better form of public transportation, but it also has to be economical, and it has to meet the needs of our community. The LRT does not reach the further areas. We are a unique community that we have the Preston, Galton, Hespeler areas, and if it's not going to reach all the community, it's not going to meet the needs of everyone. And I think also that we should be looking at the Smart Rapid Bus Transit system, as it offers that flexibility and is a little bit more fiscally responsible. We should also continue moving forward, looking at the GO service so that it can reach further, so that people who commute to Toronto that can take public transit. Currently, we've had $70 million that we invested in the LRT for Kitchener-Waterloo, and it has absolutely no return on our investment. That money could have been spent within Cambridge, which could be used for infrastructure issues. We have a huge infrastructure deficit, and that money could have been better spent so that we are not putting a further financial burden onto the people, families, and businesses within our city. And we need to be cautious and make the decisions that don't further our communities.
All right, our fourth question of tonight's debate. Ashta, take it away.
Thank you. All right. How will you react when the views of your respective political parties are in conflict with what local residents, Ward 7 residents, are saying they want?
And with that, we begin with Mr. Hamilton.
Thank you very much. So as many of you may know, I ran in a previous federal election. And during that election campaign, I had a number of people come to me and say, if this doesn't work out for you, will you run for Ward 7? And I'm very happy to report that right now on my Ward 7 campaign, I have members, volunteers from every single political party. Conservatives, Liberals, Greens, NDP. Well, why? It's because they all said, you listen to people, you work extremely hard, and you do what's best for the community writ large. And so I want to be clear to every single Cambridge resident out there, to me it doesn't matter what the color of your lawn sign is in the provincial election or the federal election. What matters to me is that you're a Cambridge resident, you care about the community, and you have some great ideas that you might want to share. We're all in this together. There's so much difference and division out there that's held us back. Going forth, we need a Cambridge that's positive, that's progressive, and that will work together to build a greater future for all of us. Thank you.
Mr. Johnston.
Well, thank you. I, before retiring from radio, I used to work at a station called CKWR in Kitchener-Waterloo, which is a community station. And I put in over 15,000 hours over the course of the time I was there, live hours. These are live hours. And so I got to meet a lot of politicians, federal, municipal, provincial. And personally, I have never been a member of a political party because at heart, I'm an independent person. I'm an independent thinker. I like to be able to engage people one-on-one and know I'm having an honest relationship. That being said, I think if you're a member of a political party, you should be proud of that party, and if you support their goals, you should do so. You should be open about it. Scott's been very open about his being a member of the NDP, and I have no problem with that. I would be more upset if he denied his party or changed party for political gain. So, yeah, that's all I have. Do you want a ding? Ding. There you go.
We'll make it official for you. Mr. Patel.
Okay, so my thought is like we have Ward 7, we have 8,900 voters, and the last elections almost 7,000 voters refused to vote. The reason, I have no idea. We have to find out why this almost 7,000 voters refused to vote, and that is why I just knock the doors and listen the concerns and everybody. Some people don't want to talk. Doesn't about the party and everything, but they don't want to talk. The reason why, 1st January 1973, Cambridge was born. Almost half century in the Ward 7, there is no swimming pool, there is no arena, there is no even sports complex or anything. I don't know, like the people who live here, people who like the born and brought up here, why there is no even swimming pool. Even if you counting from the half of the century, almost $30 million collected the tax from only Ward 7. And that's only the rewards, nothing. And that's why the 7,000 people refused to vote, because they thought anyone can change, anyone come and go, doesn't matter. Thank you. So we need to change, and we need to think about that. Thank you.
Mr. Ware.
I'm a firm believer that a councillor cannot be beholden to any one political party, but we do have an obligation as those who would serve or put our names up to serve to work with all parties, and we need to advocate fiercely for our residents despite the contrast in opinions from major provincial parties. And that's something I've encountered at the doors. Residents are looking for advocate for the city, and they're not really too concerned with provincial parties when it comes to municipal issues. So, yeah, that's my understanding of it.
Mr. Boland.
That's an excellent question. And it's something that people at the doors keep asking me as well. What party are you running for? And there's some confusion. There's no official party ties at the municipal level. This is my first election ever. I'm putting my hat into the political arena for the first time. I've never ran for a political party. I don't have any baggage carrying over from any previous elections. So I'm really developing my platform and my policies based on the conversations I'm having with people at the door. Just like I said with the CTS site, we have a duty to represent the people of our ward, and people continuously say they don't want a CTS site in Cambridge, so I will support their decision, and I will support what is told to me by people at the door, and I won't support that. I don't have that official party tie. I have voted for multiple parties throughout all votes that I've been allowed to vote for. I've never tied down to one party in particular. I believe in being flexible and being open-minded to all sides of the argument and coming out with the best possible solution.
Mr. Patello.
I've been a member of several parties. I used to be a member of the Conservative Party. I left that. I joined the People's Party when that started, but I don't think that you can let partisan party politics get in the way when you're running for a councillor like that. That's just, they don't have a platform for Cambridge. They don't have a platform for Ward 7, so why should we be concerned about that? Thanks.
Ms. Cody.
Municipal government is not supposed to be led by party politics. I will always stand for my community. I will support the views of my community. Community safety and fiscal responsibility is a shared purpose. I have no future goals to run in any future political elections, which may leave a vacant seat on council costing taxpayers another $100,000 for an additional by-election. My heart belongs to the city where I was born and raised, and Cambridge is my only focus.
And lastly, Mr. De Silva.
Thank you. I don't believe that there's any political affiliation with City Council, and I don't think that should take a priority. I do think that in our role at City Council, in lobbying for what is best for our community, it's our responsibility to ensure that we have communication with all the different parties when necessary, both federally and provincially, to make sure that the needs of our communities are being met and the voices are being heard. And I think it's important to keep that ongoing communication and be transparent. And I don't think it would serve us right to stick to any particular party and align with that, because our role at City Council does not require that.
All right, we're about 2/3 of the way through our debate, so let's continue on. And Mark, our next question, please.
Okay. So as you all know, the regional governmental review was released just late last year. Indicating that they will not force amalgamation on the region, but they also determined that they will not release all the information from said regional governmental review. And there's been a little bit of talk around social media and around council tables across the region because of this. Do you agree or disagree with the fact that they have not released all that information, and do you believe they should release that information to the public?
Okay, and before we begin with Mr. Johnston, again, let's begin with the yes or no, and I go into more expansive discussion.
What is the yes or no portion of the question, please?
Do you agree?
Release the information? 100%. 100%. Absolutely. If you have information, release it. If not, what's transparency all about if you're not releasing information, particularly to the people who it's going to affect the most? I was born and raised in the city of Scarborough, which then became part of the megacity of the GTA, Toronto, North York, Scarborough. We were amalgamated by force. All of the mayors of the different cities fought it. As soon as it was a fait accompli, they all ran to be mayor. I think that amalgamation is, for certain things, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, and we already have it. The region does a wonderful job with police, fire, ambulance, the main services, transportation. If we can amalgamate those aspects, I'm 1,000% for amalgamating that, which we've already done. Amalgamating the rest of the civic structure, it's bad for democracy. I mean, we already have three people that were born and raised in Cambridge still see it as Preston, Galt, and Hespeler. We have three in our own backyard. How are we going to deal with Waterloo and Kitchener? You get where I'm saying. Release the info. Yes. Thank you.
I'm 100% agree with him. Definitely, we are democracy and we have to transparency in everything. So we have to agree with that things. And the second thing, we have to public survey. We have to monitoring things. We have to find the aspect which one is correct, which one is not correct. We have to amplify something. So that's why we have to move openly the survey, meetings, group meetings, find the proper solutions and everything. This is we help for more than that. So I'm 100% agree with that things. Thank you.
Yes, transparency is key, and democracy flourishes on transparency. So I believe it's our regional job to pressure the government to release all the information. We can't make a decision based on half the information. With that being said, on the outset, just on amalgamation, it does seem too costly a pill that we need to swallow. So I'm, at this point, skeptically against amalgamation.
Of course, the information needs to be released. Again, like many of the people before me have said, we are a democracy. A democracy operates best when we can make informed decisions, and we can't make informed decisions without knowing all of the information. With that being said, again, like people are saying, we have three separate core areas. We have multiple different hockey leagues. There's still a strong sense of divide between the different areas in Cambridge. People like to hold on to their roots, whether you're from Preston or you're Hespeler or you're Galt. People really buy into that, especially people who have lived here since before the amalgamation. And I believe that a lot of that still holds true, even in the younger generations. We still see ourselves as Galt, Hespeler, and Preston. Now, that's not necessarily a great thing. I do believe that we should be pushing for a Cambridge that is more united. But I don't believe amalgamating with another city at this current point in time is a good idea when we are already struggling with the effects of the last one that occurred.
Yeah, well, of course the information should be released. If you want to be a well-informed citizen in a democracy, you need as much information as you can get. Thanks.
I also agree that the information should be released. I don't know why there's a need to keep it secret. The decision has already been made, and I'm personally happy that amalgamation did not happen. Basically, releasing this information only supports my platform that I agree on transparency and accountability, and our residents and our communities do need to be informed and engaged.
Mr. De Silva.
Thank you. I also agree that the information should be released, and transparency is important whenever making decisions. And if a decision's already been made, then why keep information from the residents? I was not born in Cambridge, but I have lived here for the past 26 years. And I've often thought that we should have done a better job of when amalgamation of the three towns was done, we should have done a better job to really incorporate Cambridge. People that have been here for a long time still struggle with that. And when people ask me where I'm from, I always say from Cambridge. And they always ask me, but where from? And so I tell them I was born in the Azores, but I live in Cambridge now. I would not like to see the region amalgamating because I think we still have work to do within Cambridge itself. So thank you.
Mr. Hamilton.
Thank you. So I know this is technically supposed to be a debate, but I don't think you're going to get much debate on this question. I think we're all we're batting 1,000 on this one. I've written in the past against amalgamation. As having taught political science, it's kind of democracy 101. When you concentrate political power, you remove democratic accountability. And as we all recognize, Cambridge itself is still feeling the pains from amalgamation in 1973. So of course I think amalgamation is a bad idea. I think if the information is there, it should be released. But I think we have to pay special attention to the context within which it's released so it's situated for residents in the right way and it isn't taken out of hand. We have to remember that these are agencies of Waterloo Region, these are our friends and neighbors that have written these reports, so we want to make sure that releasing a report like this doesn't frighten off anyone from doing work like this in the future or turn them away from sharing other ideas with us, no matter how polarizing they might be. The goal is not to foster difference, the goal is to create dialogue and discussion over where we can all go together going forth.
All right, Ashta has our next question, and the first response will go to Mr. Patel.
Thank you. The city of Cambridge and Ward 7 in Cambridge is an area with growing needs, a growing population, and an increasing demand for new developments all the time. What qualifies you, what experiences qualify you to make decisions in budgeting, city planning, and fiscal responsibility to taxpayers?
Thank you. So, as I told you earlier, like from 1st January 1973, Cambridge was born, and almost half of the century in our Ward 7. The first priority, we don't have any swimming pool. Come on, we have some facility. We have like 35,000 voters in Ward 7. They have kids and everyone. At least there is some sports complex, arena, sport, everything. Even the cultural, half of the community is like the multicultural. There are different countries and everything. We have to something like the halls, cultural programs and everything. They are we are diversity. We are the multicultural city. So we have to encourage and everything because we are united. We are not like the separate, right? So this is the priority things. And this is not like $1 billion or $1 trillion programs. You can, once you have dedication, you have this trust, you can do it. And that's why my concerns, at least basic needs, sports or something. Right now we are facing, and I'm sorry to say like the one is already has suffering from the coronavirus. One lady in the Cambridge fine, I just got the news from today morning. I'm telling you right now, if you have the immune system developed, right, through sports, is not sitting inside watching video games and everything. So we have to come out and find the sports and all stuff. At least we can develop for the further things.
Thank you, Mr. Patel. I have to stop you there. Mr. Warish.
Yeah, so it's vitally important for anyone serving on council to be a negotiator, to be an advocate, and to be passionate about what they're advocating for. I have a track record of fostering business relationships, both as a business owner and working with investors from all areas of Cambridge and also the province. So being a good negotiator is key when seeking vital investments in infrastructure and to grow our city. The next councillor needs to advocate for Ward 7 so that the development or proposed development around Ward 7 is done correctly and done not to burden the already tax base in Ward 7 or in Cambridge as a whole. Thank you.
Mr. Boland.
I've grown up working with multiple family businesses between real estate and working in Cambridge for in the last 4 years with that. Barnacle Bills, property management. I have experience with budgets. I have experience with finances. I believe that too much spending has been going on with City Council lately, and that's a sentiment that I hear at the doors consistently. For example, when we were talking, when council was talking about the 2020 budget, they had the opportunity to send it back to city staff to see if more cuts could be made, if we could lower that tax increase. I would have voted in favor of that. I don't see the harm in sending it back to city staff and see where we can save more money for the taxpayer. I will always push for lower tax increases, or try to get to no increases at all, which is an unrealistic goal. So I would have voted in favor for sending it back to city staff and seeing where the cuts could have been made. My previous business experience and working in real estate for a number of years in our community has prepared me to handle the public purse and to make fiscally responsible decisions. Thank you.
Mr. Patello.
Well, I'm not a financier or an accountant or anything, but I know how to balance a budget, and we can't run consistent deficits and just raise the taxes. The tax burden in this country is already quite high for many people. So, you know, you don't need to be a genius to know that we can't keep spending more money than we have. Thanks.
Ms. Cory.
Well, to me, a healthy core that is safe to be in is a strong community. We have to be fiscally responsible so small businesses and people can live and prosper in our communities. Our heritage is also an asset and a consistent destination that brings in money from producers and tourists. I'm a volunteer on the Taxpayer Support Group, and we monitor and keep close attention to the city budgets. I have a background in finance and business. I have experience with contracts, acquisitions, and reconciling multi-million-dollar accounts. Taxes that increase faster than the consumer price index is unsustainable. It attacks the fixed and low-income earners. We have to keep taxes sustainable to keep our businesses and our communities prosperous, and in turn increase employment opportunities. Overall, we have to respect the taxpayer and be fiscally responsible.
Mr. De Silva.
Thank you. In my 35 years in my business, I have held positions as a sales manager, regional sales representative, general manager, working with budgets within our own sales force. My experience with various organizations that I've been involved with, Cambridge Youth Soccer, even the Portuguese Club of Cambridge, but especially my involvement as a trustee for Waterloo Catholic, where we have to maintain large budgets and review large budgets. In my review of accommodation reviews and boundary reviews, but in particular having to really evolve and look through a budget presentation and try and manage that budget and as best suited for, in that case, a school community, a school board, but also in our community. It's important for us to be transparent and fiscally responsible with taxpayers' dollars. Thank you.
And Mr. Hamilton.
Thank you. So in my past, I've managed and led large teams and organizations that have had large-scale budgets. Managing a budget is extremely important. One thing to realize is that when you're a city councillor, you are the shepherd of the public purse. So you have to ensure that every single dollar you spend is a wise one, that it's an investment in the present and in the future of your community. You have to ensure that every dollar spent is going to be a high return on that investment. So the first thing I would do is actually welcome public input from Ward 7 residents into their priorities, and also Cambridge residents, what they would want to see in the city improved, bettered, or even reduced in terms of a service. I would lobby the region for more funding. As we know, sometimes Cambridge gets the short end of the stick from Kitchener-Waterloo, and that's something we as a council and in a city can bind together to fight for. One thing I think the city could do is cut down on the amount of consulting it uses. Sometimes those consulting fees carry high price tags. We have local experts that live and work in the city every single day, and they have that knowledge, and we should access it. And finally, what we have to do with the budget is not to be penny wise and pound foolish. So spend on projects today that we know we're going to get a high return on our investment from in the future, like a sports complex.
Thank you, Mr. Hamilton. And last response to you, Mr. Johnston.
Well, I'll start by saying I have been, in one form or another, an independent contractor, self-employed for the bulk of my adult life. So working to a budget, Cody, I am with you on that. I do know how to do it. But at the same time, I have no history with real estate or finance. And I think there is a benefit to that because in the first place, there is no conflict of interest going forward. We're talking about a lot of empty real estate right now. And I bring an open and clean slate. I'm also a person that asks questions. I ask a lot of questions they tend to be the same questions other uninformed people might ask about how the finances are doing, how the real estate is allocated. And I'm going to ask those questions on the council level. I don't mind being embarrassed by what looks like a silly question. That's how we learn things. So, to say that, the other thing I want to mention, though, we haven't talked a lot about, I'm very much afraid of urban sprawl. I think planned communities where you know where the sportsplex is going to go 20 years before it's built, where you know how the different green space is going to be allocated, and to make sure we're thinking green when we're giving these contracts to residential, commercial, and industrial users. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnston. Thank you to all the candidates. We are running short on time, so that will bring an end to the question and answer portion of tonight's debate. We will begin with our 30-second closing remarks, and for that, we will begin with Mr. Ware and go in reverse order for tonight's closing remarks. Mr. Ware, to begin.
I want to thank Rogers TV for hosting this evening and providing a brief opportunity for me to share my vision for Cambridge. As previously stated, I'm looking to bring my diverse experiences and my passion to serve to be your voice at City Hall. Together, we can have a huge impact. Beyond my pledge of contributing 10% of my salary, if elected, back into the community, I will bring my honesty, integrity, and transparency to City Hall. I'm asking for your support on March 23rd. Let's partner together, serve together, and build a prosperous Cambridge together.
Thank you very much. Mr. Patel.
Okay, thank you so much. I am the immigrant. Unfortunate, I wasn't born here, but I definitely fortunate I will die here with pride and respect. As an immigrant, I am saying like this is my hand, is the Ward 7, and 8,900 voters is my family. Every fingers is represent the religious cultures with not same size and color, but these are any one fingers cut is still blood come out, and that's hurt me. I don't want to hurt anyone, and we are stronger than ever before. Thank you, and thank you everyone.
Mr. Johnston.
Well, I too want to thank you for having us and having me, and I think that I've never thought of entering politics before the sad passing of Mr. Montero. I got into this because I wanted to help people. That's what I did full-time, all day, every day when I was on the radio. I want to continue to do that. And I do thank you for having me, and I think that whoever you select, everyone on this stage have a lot to offer. I just only have a few seconds left, so I thought I would just send people to my website, which is www.rj4, the number 4, ward7.ca. Learn more about me because there's not a whole lot of time up here. And you'll find out about all the things I've done, hosting the inaugural Cambridge Newcomer Day, various festivals around town. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Mr. Johnston. Mr. Hamilton.
Thank you, and thank you for watching. Ward 7, Cambridge, now is not a time for division, difference, or finger pointing. We can't keep kicking the same old cans down the road expecting different results. As a city councillor, I want Cambridge to reach the true potential that we all know and feel is there. And that's why I'll push for progressive, energetic, fiscally responsible initiatives that will help our city grow and develop together going forth. So on March 23rd, I'm asking you to think forward and vote Scott Hamilton for your Ward 7 councillor. Thank you.
Mr. De Silva.
Thank you. My name is Manuel De Silva, and I am passionate about this community because that is where my family lives and that's where your family lives. I want to care about this community and continue to care as I do. I will lobby and fight for you and for what is best for our community. I'm asking you to cast your vote on March 23rd. I'm asking you to vote for Manuel De Silva as your representative for Ward 7. Thank you.
And Ms. Cody.
Council is accountable to you. I'm willing to work hard as councillor for community, for your family, for your business. Residents tell me their voices are not being heard on public safety and rising taxes. I will host town halls to engage with residents, which will help build a fiscally responsible council through communication and transparency. As a resident in Ward 7, with 55 years of living in this wonderful city, what matters to you matters to me. So for a councillor that can hit the ground running on day one, on March 23rd, vote Connie Cody to represent you.
Mr. Patello.
Oh, great. Thanks for having me. I just want to say I'd appreciate your vote, and I know that we have to fix the potholes on the intersection at Elgin and Samuelson. I seen them yesterday.
And Mr. Boland.
Thank you for having us here today. Ward 7 has been my home for 20 years. I care deeply about its future. As many of you know, I am new to the political sphere in Cambridge. I am a young, fresh face, and I believe that this is a good thing. I believe that some young blood will serve council well in the coming years. I never ran for a political party. I have no baggage from previous elections, and I have been able to root my platform in the conversations I am having with you at the doorstep. I am free to speak my mind on issues, and I believe that I am a strong candidate for your choice. So please consider me on March 23rd. Cole Bolin.
Thanks again to all candidates, and good luck in the upcoming election. We would like to remind all voters in Cambridge that there is advanced voting this coming Saturday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at City Hall, and of course, Election Day on Monday, March 23rd from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. in-person voting only. So on behalf of Mark Perry, Ash Shetty, and all the crew here, Rogers TV, I'm Dan Polishchuk. Thank you and good night.